Virginia Giuffre, voice in Epstein sex trafficking scandal, dies at 41. And she was probably, I'd say, the most famous of the accusers of Epstein. Several of the accusers do not want their name out there, so they've remained somewhat anonymous. Her and the other one, I think, is it Maria Farmer? But Giuffre was the one who was brought charges against Prince Andrew, which, of course, was the biggest news story in the world of like living people that had these accusations against them. Yes, we all know Bill Clinton flew on the Lolita Express 26 times or something, but no one was bringing charges against him. So the Prince Andrew thing was a massive story and continues to be. Anyway, Virginia Giuffre supposedly, according to mainstream media, took her life the other day. Virginia Giuffre, a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring, who said she was passed around like a platter of fruit as a teenager to rich and powerful predators, including Prince Andrew of Britain, died on Friday at her farm in Western Australia. She was 41. She died by suicide, the New York Times says with definitive knowledge. According to a statement by the family, she wrote in an Instagram post in March that she was days away from dying of renal failure after being injured in an automobile crash with a school bus that she said was traveling nearly 70 miles per hour. So I think I mentioned that on the show when it happened. It was less than a month ago, I think. A school bus ran into her going 70 miles an hour and nearly killed her. She posted on Instagram that she was going to die in days, and I guess she survived. But now they're saying that she killed herself. So a school bus ran into her, and when that didn't work, she committed suicide. I'll let you try and make of this what you will. I know it is difficult to think that a family would ever have it wrong or say that something was a suicide when it wasn't. But you've got to remember what this family is facing. This family knows that she's a target, knows that people who bring out the truth on this topic are targets if they have firsthand knowledge. They know that, something suspicious happened to Jeffrey Epstein, didn't it? The FBI raided Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in New York City and his island. They left with trucks full of evidence against who knows, and nothing has ever come forward other than like names in his black book. But you can't say a name in his black book means that that person did anything. However, if you've got fucking videotapes from his mansion in New York, you could know a lot more. But for some odd reason, all of that evidence from the FBI is just up in smoke. Who knows? Maybe they took a wrong turn as they were trying to get all that evidence up to Washington. Who knows what happened? So it doesn't actually shock me that a family would say, yeah, this was definitely suicide, if they want this thing to go away, if they don't want to be the center of this anymore. Just as a reminder, in case you really needed this, Jeffrey Epstein was found hanging in his cell. He had hanged himself with a paper jumpsuit or whatever, the thing they give to people on suicide watch in a jail cell in Manhattan. They take away your shoelaces and everything else so that you can't hang yourself. They have video cameras and they're supposed to check on him like every hour. The guards apparently were both taking naps at that time when he happened to kill himself. The prisoners nearby said they heard a lot of screaming because, people often just yell for help right as they're taking their own life. The medical analysis that was done by an outside physician found that the bones that were broken in Epstein's neck were bones that sometimes break in hanging, but generally break in strangulation, because the type of hanging that breaks those neck bones, that's the type of hanging where you're like dropped from a platform, where it's a really aggressive, harsh hanging, not the type of hanging where you are in a tiny cell and you lean against a rope or a shoelace. That's strangulation that is different. And so the odds of these bones breaking in his neck by a paper jumpsuit from a bunk bed, very low, incredibly low, unless he had brittle bone disease. Anyway, but the New York Times, your trusty source of information, will always tell you that Epstein killed himself. But here's one more fact about Virginia Giuffre. this is something that she tweeted out in 2019. She said, and I suppose it could always come out that this is faked, that this was not a tweet of hers, but everything I've heard is that this was real. But she said, I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. So she posted that in 2019. And furthermore, if she were, I feel like having posted that, having said she was going to die from this bus crash and other things, I feel like if she were legitimately going to take her life, she probably would have posted something about it. I can't now obviously you can't know that for sure, and you can't know for sure that she didn't kill herself, at least at this time. But it seems unlikely that if she's posted things about how she would never kill herself and she's then making that choice, she might say something, but who knows? That's of course speculation. Anyway, boy, is this good for Prince Andrew. What a wonderful thing just happened for Prince Andrew. It's just so, it's lovely that this nice thing has happened for him, don't you think?